She Sells Seashells is a group exhibit I curated that is on at Pragovka Gallery, the White Room space in Prague, Vysočany, in March 2023. The exhibit ends at the end of the month. Exhibiting artists include Jindřiška Jabůrková, Radim Miroslava Večeřová, Barbara Vovsová, and Lawrence Wells. I am Lawrence Wells, and that was my painting Conch, painted in 2023. This is a work by Barbara Vovsová. Barbara studied with Lukáš Ritzstein and Jaroslava Rona. This is a work by Radim entitled Soul. Radim divides his time between the Czech Republic and Sicily, where he has been inspired by the geometric motifs found in Greek and Roman mosaics. This is another work by Barbara Vovsová entitled Tree. Her work is related to the fragments of cells and organelles and living vitality. Here we find some of my paintings. This one is entitled Shells and Eyes. And this one is called Shell Dream. The roots of this exhibition reach back to the summer of 2021, when my mother took me to a furniture store in my hometown in Kentucky, and I bought a collection of shells for $20. I brought the shells back to Prague, and I began a series of paintings. Looking at the shells week after week, I began to long for the ocean, but then I realized I had the ocean with me in the shells. They contain their own story. This is a smaller work by Radim Langer entitled Sponge Garden. Here we have my painting from 2022 entitled On the Shore. It was inspired by the short story Encantadas by Herman Melville about the shore of the Galapagos Islands. The works in this exhibit relate to the elements and sort of mythopoetics. It's about the wild, chaotic spaces where the waves crash against the shore. This is both a real space and a place in the mind where the psyche becomes broken down. The body and thoughts become fragments. Here we have Barbara Vovsová's large-scale sculpture column. And some pieces cast in glass related to plankton and sand and microscopic particles. Barbara Vovsová and Radim Langer's work are meditations on the deep mysteries and beauty in nature. They approach the theme in different ways, but both of them are interested in vital currents of life, suggesting secret gateways to new ways of seeing the world. Here we have a sculpture by Barbara Vovsová. And more works by her made with painted plaster. Here we have a painting by Radim entitled Obsidian Turtle. Fundamentally, the work in this exhibition are related to still lifes or dead nature, natura morte, in French, but also the opposite, living nature or natura vita, found in the life forces of Barbara Vovsova's fragments, for example. Here we see small drawings and collages by Barbara. The gallery space is the former kitchen for the Praga car factory, which closed in the late 90s, or early 90s perhaps. Since 2001, it's been an artist studio space. I have my studio there. Unfortunately, the building is being completely, or maybe fortunately, the building is being remodeled, and this space will be most likely torn down within the coming year. What I see in my fellow artists' work here is that nothing ever really dies. The materials around us live and mutate, and we are just one small part of this constantly evolving process. This is a painting called Reliquary. In The Winter's Tale, Shakespeare famously placed the Czech lands by the ocean with long rocky coasts to explore. The fantasy of the sea, due to its absence, inhabits a space in the Czech imagination that longs to travel, to escape, like the poet Konstantin Biebl, for example, to distant shores on the ship bringing tea and coffee. Seashells and exotic objects are visitors from faraway lands. We collect them as they evoke worlds beyond our everyday lives. Hold a shell to your ear, and you hear the distant sea rushing in your veins. That ocean is inside us, and we map its depths in our dreams. Seashells are beautiful creatures and beautiful treasures as well. Built instinctually by mollusks, in form they resemble both female and male genitalia, reflecting the erotic vitality of nature. And yet, like bones, shells are the skeletal homes of dead creatures made of calcite. They are a key aspect of the carbon cycle, the circulation of this primary element enabling life on Earth. Many seemingly static materials produce their own agency in humans and other species, which are vital to our continuing coexistence, and yet these cycles are under threat due to rapid industrialization, the economic resistance to decarbonization, and mankind's inherent blindness. The oceans, unable to store more carbon, become acidic, endangering biological diversity. Here we find the work of Večeřová, Miroslava. Miroslava's work is a response to ecological wounds, demanding an ecofeminist rebalancing, which she evokes in her multidisciplinary work, combining performance, sculpture, drawing, and photography. Her Fossils from the Future series presents spirits of stone and sea, where they awaken chthonic and powerful presences, revealing cosmological feminine energies. This is her video piece, Low Tide Quest, filmed on the English coast. Miroslava Večeřová and Jindřiška Jabůrková are both interested in natural processes and the symbolic and psychological effects of various materials and surfaces. Their work reminds me of the way elemental forces are constantly changing. Everything is in flux. Through materials we are born, and to materials we return. This is an untitled installation by Jindřiška Jabůrková. Ahoy! Yin's work is primarily related to the transformational processes of the material world and how they reflect psychic and symbolic states. Her site-specific installations work with entropic cyclical aspects of material, which appear degraded, yet also suggest rebirth and renewal. There's a sense here of a sort of ritual space. One becomes acclimated to perceiving the environment in a more nuanced way. There are many details that seem hidden at first. Using the lighting, Jindřiška also creates a feeling of perhaps an underworld type environment. This exhibit has a sort of mythopoetic aspect to it, in which both life and death are celebrated as cyclical aspects of experience, both for humans and also all living creatures and materials. The exhibition is still ongoing, but will close at the end of March. March 30th will be the closing, March 2023. Thank you for watching.